rent management. So I'm going to participate in this. This is just really a way of Sneha torturing me because she's 10 times more knowledgeable than I am, but she wants to watch me bumble around. This is another area that is live today that has tremendous depth. We could probably spend an hour or so in here. We're not. We're going to do this in about 10 minutes. So this is something you're going to want to circle around on. And it's another foundational building block to other things that you're going to see today. So in our rent management center, you'll see that you have your rent plan library. And Sneha has created a couple examples for us to look at to show some of the new tools. And this first one is, we named it an hour ago, Rent Plan for Acquisitions, and then a storage rent plan. The difference being is this here may be a mature, stabilized property. This one may be a property that you acquired that is significantly below market value, and you want to have a methodology to move it up to market with an automated methodology very quickly and aggressively. And we've all done that, right? So it's a fantastic tool for those that are growing your businesses because you can pick up very quick. And the way this works is when you go in to edit this, right, you do a lot of the things that are same as setting up your names and titles and such, and you can apply it to types of storage, and then you can put limits on it, right? So this is not like something else we're going to show you later on today where you can just smash rent raises. There's still some respect given into this where you can create maximums in the rent increases, and you can set defaults that would handle somebody that has prepaid. So let's say that you buy a store and there's a bunch of prepaid rent in there and you do not want to hit them. You have that option. If you still want to hit the prepaid people, because you do have that option as well in all 51 states, right? You can do that. So that gives you that flexibility to do that. Then you can target what you're trying to get to. So the only reason you're doing this, right, is you have a vision. My rent's 50 cents and I want to get to $1, right? So you've got a target. So in this tool, you set the target of where you want to get to, and you set it as a percentage of sell rate. So if you want to get up to your current seller rate, you would say, I want to get 100%, right? And then you want to once it catches that period, you want to back off to, call it a normal rent raise type cycle. So maybe every 9 months, 12 months, something like that. And you can kind of set it and forget it. And the system will generate these leases in whatever order. It's kind of hard in this projector. You can't see the grays and the squares around this stuff so well, but on your computer you'd be able to see that these are boxes. It'd be very clear to fill out. So she can hit these rents in this particular example. This is kind of aggressive, but she could hit them every 2 months until you get to your target, and then boom, it'd back off to a normal business practice for your company. So it's a very unique tool for handling certain situations where your rents are well below market. And what am I missing, Sneha?
No, it's the normal one.
No, I covered that one. Okay. Boss. Okay, so this is the normal rent plan increase, right? So you're able to then set up a whole host of how you want to handle a new customer. So you can set a target. In this particular case, it's a trigger at the start of the lease. So somebody moves in 3 months. I mean, this is aggressive, right? So you set this to what you want. This is just demo. But in 3 months, you're going to do a rent increase, of 30%, right, of the current rent, and it's a one-time increase. And then in another 2 months, you're going to do another one, right? And then in 4 months, you're going to go into another rent increase after that, and then every 9 months after that, right? So you can do your 7-Eleven program or whatever it is. You just set this up to follow your current rentals on a stabilized property.
You have the option to
You have
do
the
it
option.
for set rate too.
Set or sell.
Yeah.
Set or sell, right? We sort of reterm those in the industry because you had the push rates and the this and the standard rates. Our definition is set. You build a new store, you have to pick numbers to start with. You set your rates in, or you buy a new store, you set your rates in. Sell is the system pressurizing it, all the automation pressurizing it to what the customer sees for an offer. That's what you're selling it at. That's the terminology that we use. So, rent plan defaults.
Good, better, best.
Yeah. So what's another interesting thing you can do here, because we have this value pricing now, good, better, best. You can now start to apply different rent plans to different sales. So maybe you want to, on your good tier, which is your least expensive, you may want to have a more aggressive rent plan than on your premium space where you already got a 20% premium over your standard rate. So now you have that ability to apply within your value pricing different rent plans that may make sense to you. And you can do this also for storage types as well. You can apply these same plans like I would apply at my portfolios, much different rent adjustments to parking than I would to standard storage, particularly in tight markets. So you have that flexibility. This is a pretty cool tool here. And again, I said this in the other office, right? Like, if you want great automation downstream, you've got to do some work up front. Tech isn't smart enough to just all of a sudden do this stuff, right? It doesn't, like, you don't turn on your computer and all your contacts and everything are in there, right? Like, it doesn't make your phone calls for you. But if you set this all up, you have tremendous efficiency downstream that will bring you more revenue, make you more money.
Can you do it on an individual unit basis as well as a group basis, or is it only group?
You can set it.
Yes, you can do it on an individual spaces too. You
Well,
can assign
in
it from a tenant
groups,
profile.
in groups, right?
In groups as well as individual.
Yeah, so you can set it up for groups. So you may want to do your smalls different than mediums, but you can also do it on an individual customer. So just for some reason, go ahead and grab a tenant, whoever is the lucky tenant here. This particular tenant, right, for some reason fell through whatever happened, and you're like, no, I want to move this
I think
this
they're already
this
on
rent.
Let me find another.
What was that exempt from increases thing
You can
that individual tenant set up?
Yep.
yeah.
Now, to a question that I got earlier, and I believe I'm in the right area to answer this, right, Sneha? I talked about this earlier with you. A use case was brought up to me in the other room. You go do an aggressive rent increase, which a lot of us are now doing with rate campaigns, right? So a customer calls, they're leaving bad reviews, you decide you want to negotiate with them, or you want somebody to negotiate with them to keep them. You may look at them and go, wow, that lifetime it's $18,000, whatever. You make a business decision. How do you handle that? Well, you could go right into the methodology here, and you could skip that rent increase, right, which then would just push it to the next scheduled month,
Yeah.
right? So the next month, the system would pick it up and grab it and go. That probably doesn't solve the problem in that use case. So you can move them to the next scheduled rent increase or pause them.
You can cancel it or skip it.
Yeah, canceling it would move it to the next scheduled one. So that's a bigger area. That may not solve the exact problem that you're looking for. What you can do, though, is when you come in here, you can tag one of these spaces, right? And you add a tag and you put your reason in, and this might be, hey, Tim, district manager, this customer is requesting that we don't do this, blah, 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 whatever you want, right? And if you save that, what'll happen is it will tag that rent increase, and whomever has the ability to make that decision could see this right within this rent increase, because they would come in and they would see that that space has been tagged and that there's notes. They could open it up and they could agree or disagree to that rent increase. So that gets, I think, really close to what I was asked earlier this morning to solve, because as we're doing more aggressive rent increases, we're finding that particularly even the REITs are doing more store-level management in those situations, with customers making decisions on the fly as to whether they're holding their feet to the fire or whether they're making adjustments. Gives you greater methodology to run your business.
Upload.
I'm sorry?
Upload, download.
Yeah, so upload, download is kind of a copy of other systems out there. It allows you to take all of your rent increases or your rent and move it up into a spreadsheet, make all the adjustments or create whatever sort of tools you want in Excel to make a judgment, because maybe you think that you have created a super RevMan tool at your shop, and some of you have. You can apply your magic to it, and then you can upload it back in, and it'll apply those rent increases in accordance with what you've done in your spreadsheet. So that just sort of takes us up to par on a couple of the other systems out there, but it gives you that option as well.
Lance, have you guys started talking about any type of attrition tracking?
Yeah.
Based on that?
So Sneha, let's go to the results page on the rent increases. Yeah, this is tough. This is one that'll never work on a mobile device. You want a big screen in your office to look at this, right? So you can see these are previous rent increases that happened. This is a future one that's already been approved, right? But you can see all of the data that we're tracking as a result of those rent increases. So like this is one right here. We track move-outs within 90 days of that particular rent increase. So you can go back over history and look and see if you had any anomalies or something, and then jump into it and look at it and see, do I not want to do that again, or was that a good plan? But you could also see through this data, as you go across, you're going to see your effective change, your increase in revenues, your total percentage increase. What else is in there, Sneha?
That's all.
Yeah.
Does approved mean the notice went out, but the change hasn't happened?
I'm sorry?
Does approved mean the notice went out,
Yes.
but the change hasn't happened, or is there another step?
No.
The notice went out and the change hasn't happened.
Approved
No.
means it's approved. There is a notice status that shows that the notice went
Yeah,
out.
it's approved for rent change.
Yeah.
When it's tracking 90 days, is it from the date the notice went out, or from the date the change happened?
I believe from the day the change happened. I believe. I don't know. I'm in my. Does anybody know
Yeah,
that?
it's the day from which the change happened.
Okay.
So it will be like, it depends. For anniversary, it's little different, but yes, it's approximately 90 days from the change happened.
Deployed is when it takes into effect.
So this gives you the ability now. Also, Sneha, can't you go on autopilot as well?
Has it?
In other words, you technically don't have to manually approve
Yes,
these,
that's
right? You have in your settings that you want to manually approve these rent increases, or you want to set it and let it rip.
For a property that's new to Hummingbird, could you upload all that data, like past rent increases, and
No.
just what's accumulated?
Yeah, it's balanced forward. That was our dream when we built Hummingbird. 5 years ago in this room, I told you you'd be able to do that, and I lied to you because we tried so hard and spent so much money, and it put so many bugs into the system with dirty data that we were it was like whack-a-mole.
Actually,
Can add the upcoming ones though.
yeah, you can add upcoming ones. So for the active tenants, if you've scheduled a rent increase in your previous PMS, when you're moving over, we can bring that over.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What am I missing, Sneha?
That's all.
That's it. Okay.
I live in that rent management. It's super cool. The one thing I'd ask maybe for an enhancement is if we can, all those metrics that I look at those metrics all the time. If we can look at it from a portfolio basis rather than one by one, 25 stores, it takes me a while to go through this sometimes. Just
It's almost like I should go in the data warehouse.
Yep.
You can see some of those in portfolio KPI report. Yeah.
Somebody take a note on that. More questions?
Yes, yes. Please, sir. So I was talking to Daisy about this, and that you have the review rent change or something screen where it's each customer's name.
Yeah.
You could write tabs and notes, but that's before the notification goes out, right? So what about after the notification goes out and then the customers start calling and
Right.
the manager?
It's
Say-
so. This is where anything that you've scheduled for April, all those customers will show up here, and then along with their notice status. So if the notice goes out, you will see the notice as it's gone out or it's in pending, and they would still remain here. So after their notice has gone out, if someone calls in, you can still reference the screen,
So
and
the admin or whoever has permission.
they can
Yeah.
go in there and add a note.
Is this still true with ProRise Veritech? I think those are automatic.
Yes,
right?
it's true with them as well. Yes.